Every big discovery starts with a closer look. This is Magnify Childcare, presented by Academic Explorers. Welcome to Magnify Childcare, a podcast for parents and providers. Today, it's just me as your host. I'm Danielle. I am the co-owner and founder of Academic Explorers, which you may already know if you've watched all 11 episodes of this season. But I'm here today by myself because we are going to be discussing how the whole first season went. It is our season finale, episode number 12 of the Magnify Childcare podcast, and we've covered so much amazing topics that if you have not seen each one already, you should definitely go back and rewatch during this break. We're only going to be gone for just a few weeks, and we'll be back towards the end of the summer as we get back into back to school season, but we need some time to rest and reset and just make sure that our little ones and our teachers are having a fun, great summer. So I figured for this finale episode, I could go through some of my favorite moments of the season and discuss some things that I've learned, talk to you about the improvements and upgrades and great things happening at our centers, and where I see next season going, not just for the podcast, but also for our whole company. Before I get into that, though, I do want to give a shout out to Brene J. She left a comment on our first episode on our YouTube channel, on the first episode that we posted. She said, "I'm so excited for this podcast, and I'll definitely be tuning into anything you put out. You already know you're my childcare role model. I'm not sure how the audio sounds on your end, but on mine, it's pretty echoey. Just wanted to let you know since I know that's not your usual quality." Listen, I am so happy that she mentioned that she knows that this is not my usual quality. These microphones that you see in front of us or in front of me right now are brand new to me and how we have it set up here. So I couldn't figure out for the life of me for the first few episodes how to get them to work. And we were relying on just the audio of the actual camera itself that's filming this episode. So because of that, the camera is far away. It doesn't have a good quality mic. And we rolled with it because this was the time that we allotted for filming. It was a very short window of just a couple weeks of filming all 11 episodes, and I didn't have time to figure it out. I'm so sorry, but I'm glad that you recognize that I would not want to put out something with that sound quality, and now I'm happy to say that we got the mics to work. So mic check 1 2 1 2. Is it working? Can you hear me clearly? Hopefully it continues to be better quality audio for seasons and seasons to come. But thank you for pointing that out. Something else that I will be doing throughout this episode in particular is mentioning some of my favorite comments that I've seen across our videos on YouTube, along with our Instagram and TikTok. If you're not following us at Magnify Childcare on Instagram and TikTok, please be sure to do so and engage with our content that we're posting. We want to make sure that putting these episodes out makes a lot of sense, not just for the purpose of providing information about Academic Explorers, which is the main reason for the podcast, but also that it's helping people and it's stuff that you want to hear or learn more about. So the first thing that I'll mention that I learned when filming these episodes is in the episode with Moise and Lalua, the two parents that were one of the first to enroll at our second location back in 2020. In their episode, Moise had mentioned that he noticed how much of a difference there was in communication when his older daughter transitioned out of our pre-K program and into a public school classroom. He realized that the communication channels basically stopped.
How does communication from the childcare impact you as parents?
It spoils us. It spoils us because now we have no idea what's going on in our kids' life. Like they go to public school and we're just like, "What'd you do today?" It was good. What does it was good mean? It was good. No, okay, I guess it was good today. When it's bad, I guess your teacher will call us. But like the way you guys communicated every single day, like we used to tell
how much she ate.
Yeah, how much she ate. When nap time was. Pictures. The pictures were the best part. I used to load that at tadpoles like crazy. I'd be like, oh, pictures today, video, let's watch it. Like it was my favorite part of the day. Now I'm like, 3 months later, no picture. Okay, I guess they had fun today.
And that really opened my eyes to figure out how important it was for our families to get that daily communication with an app, right? So we've used apps ever since we opened back in 2017. We've always had an app to communicate with families, sending them pictures, videos, leaving notes, just sharing lesson plans and activities that their child participates in. They always have some form of communication that they get every single day. Us listening to Moise and Lalua talk about how much they appreciated that connection and being able to see how important it was for them was eye-opening for me, because yes, I know that communication is important, but I didn't realize that it was something that they were they were looking forward to seeing what their child did every day. And, something interesting is that over the years, there have been times, especially in the beginning, where we did not hold our teachers accountable for making sure that they posted pictures or kept the app updated regularly with what their students participated in throughout the day. Sometimes there were mistakes, or you forgot to add in nap time here, or you missed a diaper change document here. And there are some parents over the years that have really noticed and called us out every single time something seemed a little bit off. And in the back of our mind as administrators, we might be like, here she is again, or here he is again asking about this or that. You don't think that much of it, but seeing how much it meant to a parent in front of me was actually really interesting. I don't remember if he said this during the episode or if a different parent had mentioned this at one time, but they talked about how you can share. They shared the pictures and videos with other family members and showing it off. And, it's something that has crossed my mind in the past, but I didn't really register it. So now that is registered, I can see how much joy it brought this family to get those app notifications and those updates in the daily report. I'll do my due diligence to make sure that those notes and activities and pictures and videos are never missed again. And the following, a few weeks later in a teacher meeting, I made sure to, in our administrative quarterly meeting, I made sure to let our directors know how important it is to check to make sure that teachers are uploading those pictures and videos, because our parents really care about it. Something else that was very interesting to me was the episode with Annalisa, the parent that has been with us for 8 years. She enrolled her first child when she was just a toddler, and now she's, what grade is she in? 3rd or 4th grade. And she's still enrolled with us for after school programs. I really didn't understand the impact that we had on parents during COVID. Yes, of course, the parents that were essential workers and needed to stay with us, needed their child to stay with us while we were open during the pandemic. I understood that impact because, yes, you need childcare because you have to work and we're open to accept your child. Great. But one thing that we did was for the families that we were quote unquote losing because their parents weren't essential workers or because they were uncomfortable and didn't want their child to stay in a daycare setting during a pandemic. We didn't want to lose them, so we pivoted and created a remote learning experience for months. And this was not something that many childcare providers or daycares or preschools were doing, because realistically, how long can a 2, 3, 4, 5-year-olds sit in front of a computer, when you compare it to how long they can sit and play or learn in an actual in-person setting, right? So a lot of programs weren't doing it because, one, it wasn't mandatory, and two, because maybe they just didn't think of it. But it's something that we chose to do, and offer to our families as a continued service, so that we can make sure we keep our teachers employed and have opportunities for them to continue working if they'd like to. So hearing Annalisa's experience on the other side of the screen as a parent and seeing that she was amazed and impressed by how we chose to keep the ball rolling during COVID, it meant a lot to me. But also I meant what I said during the filming of that episode, that is all such a blur. That experience in 2020 from March through, I would say September, from March through September of 2020, it was a lot of fast decisions that we had to make. And that was one of them that went, really well.
I was home for about 4 months. I remember that time, it was from March to, I believe, about 4 months, because Ari went back like in the summertime. And it was a hard time for adjusting to get back into the school.
Yeah.
But it was amazing. The COVID, it was amazing. Like, I got to watch what she did in the school, and I'm looking at the teacher. I'm just like, how could they handle these kids? Like, this is crazy. But it was cool, the structure and everything, and the whole academic song. And I was just like, oh my, it's so cool.
The third thing that I would highlight as something that flipped a switch in my mind was during Raquel's episode, all the parent episodes. During Raquel's episode, the parent who has a child enrolled with us at our Merrick location, she mentioned that, yes, she loved us from the first day of the tour. She chose us because of how the tour made her feel. But something that raised my eyebrows was when she mentioned that there were other programs that she felt would have been better for her child academically, but she chose to come to us anyway because of how comfortable we made her feel.
Again, everywhere has their pros and their cons, and there were some other great contenders that we were interested in. There was actually one that academically I felt like, okay, this might push him a little bit more, but the fact that he felt so comfortable with you, that was the selling point right there. It wasn't even a discussion after we left because of how he felt when you were there.
Absolutely.
And yes, all of that is nice. I'm glad that we were able, and that really is us. We want to make sure that our families feel comfortable. They feel like they're coming into our family and that they feel represented, no matter who they are. That's important. But the academics are important as well. So that made me consider, well, what is it that we're missing from our tour procedures that some parents may not feel like this is the right place academically for their child? We don't want that to be the case. So we got to work figuring that out, seeing what changes could we make, not only in our program, yes, to improve the quality of educational services that we're providing, but how can we better communicate that during tours? So I'm excited to see those changes and additions and corrections take place as we move forward. To pick an episode that was not related to a parent guest, I'll make note of Miss Sabrina's episode, our music and movement teacher. We, over the years, have created a lot of different opportunities, career opportunities for administration or upper level management. We have an administrative assistant, we have center directors, we have an executive director, we've had an education director, we've had marketing manager, we have social media content creator. We have a lot of different administrative positions to help keep the operations going. But when it comes to classroom teachers, it's either you're a lead teacher or an assistant teacher, maybe a floater teacher, which is basically an assistant teacher. So for the first time this year, we introduced music and movement teacher. And I was really honest with Sabrina when she first started, making it clear that this is the first time that we have a position like this. We have never had a music and movement program housed and operated by us. This is our first year doing it, and based on her experience, her education, and who I could see that she was as a person during her interview and onboarding process, I'm like, I need you to help create this for me, with us, I mean. And she really just took the ball and ran with it, and I'm impressed and just so pleased. I'm pleased with and proud of Miss Sabrina for the work that she's done over this school year. And I'm so excited to see where it's going to go for this summer, because as you may or may not know, during the summer, we intake school-age children to be with us all day. So meaning children in grades kindergarten through 6th grade. So they stay with us all day, and that gives Sabrina an opportunity to work with older children all day long. And I'm really looking forward to what that's going to look like. They're going to create a concert for the end of the summer, or some sort of performance at the end of the summer, which should be fun. And I really want to create more opportunities like that for early childhood educators that may not necessarily want to may not necessarily want to be in the classroom with the same group, with the same ages all day. What other experiences can we create for teachers that will also in turn create a great experience for the children in the room? So having Miss Sabrina cycle through all of our classrooms at all of our centers is really such a special, unique thing that we do here at AE, that I'm excited to watch grow. My last episode highlight moment that I'll bring up is the episode with Miss Magaly. Miss Magaly is our pre-K teacher at our Merrick location. She's been with us for several years now, and most, if not all, of the parents in that have children enrolled in our program in her class really sing her praises very often. You'll hear a lot of parents saying amazing things about Miss Magaly, and that's why we wanted to have her on the podcast. And something that I did not expect, which I just didn't expect it, was a comment from a former coworker of hers. I'll pull it up and share it with you. So on our TikTok, one of her former coworkers who used to work in our program as well said, Miss Magaly was the first toddler teacher I worked under. She was my first role model in early childhood education. Working with her and in her classroom helped me find my passion working with toddlers. I went back to school, got my CDA, and still continuing my education. Magaly is an exemplary educator. How beautiful is that? You really are who you surround yourself with. And that goes for your personal life, your friendships, and your work environment as well. Look at the impact that Miss Magaly made on this teacher's life, really, her career. She's saying that she went back to school and she found her passion working with toddlers. That's such a beautiful experience, and knowing that it happened under or within the four walls of Academic Explorers, under someone's leadership like Miss Magaly, is really nice. What other comments should I bring up? Let me see. Someone asked in the episode about home daycare versus center-based. They said, why did you move from a home daycare to a center as a provider? I think I mentioned it in that episode, but I got an opportunity. Having a center was something that I wanted to do first. I didn't even know what a home daycare was until a friend that I was working with at the time told me that she was about to leave the job and go open her own home daycare. So when she told me that, I said, what's a home daycare? And she was telling me all about it. And that's what got me interested in it. because I knew that the process was easier, less requirements. It was cheaper to start up that way in a home instead of a commercial property like a center. But the shift from moving from home daycare to center happened when I had the opportunity to do so by a family friend who was trying to expand the businesses that he had. He had a few businesses and properties here in Long Island, and he knew that I had a home daycare and a passion for the childcare industry. So he offered to partner with me, and that was back in 2016 is when we started the process to open our first Academic Explorers location. Now, we're no longer partners in business, but that is how I started. Now I'm in business with my dad, and Mr. Paige and I operate all centers ourselves, and it's a really great experience to have. I think that even if the opportunity didn't come from that family friend to start up the first center, to grow from home to center base, I think I would have ended up in a center eventually anyway, because that's where once I started, I knew that growth out of my home was something that I wanted. If you recall in the episode, I mentioned that I had no, did I mention it? I don't know. But I had no living room space. I had no dining room. My whole first floor was just dedicated to the daycare. And I put a couch in my basement. And if I ever wanted to be anywhere, like in my personal time, if I wanted to be anywhere other than my bedroom, I was in my basement maybe. But yeah, I really went all in on this daycare thing, and it was going to grow regardless. But the way that it happened is exactly how it was meant to be, and I'm so grateful for it. Let me go to Instagram comments. On a clip from the episode about live stream cameras in childcare settings, we had a couple comments. K Love says, I think it helps not having live stream because you have to grow to learn to trust your child's teachers. As hard as it is in this world with so much going on, you have to build that trust. Even as a first-time parent, the daily check-ins were enough instead of watching cameras all day. It also helps build relationships between parents and teachers. I 100% agree. In that episode, we were talking about how having cameras may be somewhat of a nuisance, or live stream cameras, but we were talking about how it may become a nuisance to have parents constantly calling about things that they think they're seeing on the live stream camera, or just like if something happens. I think that the example I gave is, what if somebody loses a sock, and what if a child loses a sock and a parent sees their child walking around without a sock, and now she's calling us to stop a teacher from teaching in order to find a sock, or something silly like that. But really, I didn't think of this perspective as a parent who may be very anxious and want to just take their phone and prop it up by their work desk all day and just watch the whole entire time. If you had access to watch every moment of your child's day, you probably would. I think I would, but is that healthy? Also, right, as she said, you have to build trust. If you know that you could just take a phone and prop it up and watch the whole day, do you actually trust who your child is with? And if you don't trust them, why are you leaving them? Why are you leaving them there? So that's something we may need to revisit in future seasons. But anyway, I want to jump into the improvements that we've made in our centers, just stepping away from just podcast world for a second. We are a multi-site childcare organization with 4 centers in Roosevelt, Merrick, Uniondale, and Old Westbury, if you don't already know. We have a wonderful team of qualified and passionate teachers that are providing childcare and educational services to children as young as 6 weeks all the way up to 12 years old. Just to set the scene, if you are not fully familiar with who we are as Academic Explorers and what we do. We have an infant program, toddler program, preschool pre-K, and universal pre-K classes, as well as before and after school care. And we've made so many plans and actual changes this school year. Some have already taken effect, and some that will be starting next school year. So just to share a few of them, I know I already mentioned about Miss Sabrina and the music and movement program that we started this school year, but we also revamped our backyard areas, our playgrounds in the back of our centers. For the first time in all these years that we've been opened, we found a wonderful resource for finding affordable playgrounds for children. You know what? I'm going to share, because it is important for not only us, if you're a childcare business owner, but parents should understand too how much everything costs. Like a brand new playground, like a new playground equipment, it can cost you anywhere between like $15,000 to $50,000, depending on how big or what type of equipment you want to install on your playground. That's just like the climbing apparatuses and things like that. Not even talking about like the ground, the surfacing to protect children. It costs a lot. And this year we were finally able to make that investment to improve the quality of our backyard play spaces at our three oldest centers, Roosevelt, Merrick, and Uniondale. And the children really enjoy it. And I know our teachers do too. And this is just phase one of the remodel of our playgrounds. And I'm hoping that next year we can continue making additions and making them even better. So that's one thing. Another thing is, like I mentioned earlier before a few minutes ago, that we are really wanting to make intentional quality improvements when it comes to our curriculum implementation. So one thing we started a couple months ago was no excuse, regular bi-weekly meetings with all of our lead teachers in our preschool and pre-K age groups. We're going to be meeting with them every other week, as long as, just moving forward. But that started for the first time this year. Instead of waiting for our once or twice a year whole company professional development day, we're carving out time actually during the week to bring our teachers out of the classroom and come and sit with our management team and our administrators to talk about what the children are learning and make sure that we're all on the same page, we're keeping the same pace. And to be clear, our kids have always been learning. Our teachers know their students' levels, what they need, and are able to come up with lesson plans and activities on their own. They've been doing it for years, but as an organization that values consistency and wanting to make sure that no matter where a parent may place their child, and we do have some families that choose to transfer from this location to that location or come back or do this, or for whatever reason, if they're moving, they got a new job, their commute, whatever the reason may be. We value consistency, and we want to make sure that they are experiencing the same quality of educational services and the same curriculum, that they can be learning about, let's just say, to put it very simply, the letter A on Monday, and if they happen to transfer to a different site on Tuesday, that we know that they're about to be on letter B and not repeating letter A, just as an example, But so yeah, we have all of our teachers in the same age groups coming out of the classroom and meeting with us as administration every other week. We look forward to more meetings like that with all of our other age groups starting this summer and in the fall. And I'm really excited about that particular piece. Like, having everyone be on one accord and being confident in the experience that we're providing, not only to the families, giving them a safe, reliable, trustworthy place for childcare, but also the experience we're providing for the children in creating a wonderful educational classroom for them. Moving on to the next thing I want to point out is we hired a couple months ago, 2 months ago, a social media content creator. Her name is Miss Ashley. She has done wonders for our social media accounts. I cannot tell you how grateful I am to have Ashley on our team. She's helped us grow our following from, I think about when she started, our Instagram was around 1,400 followers, 14 or 1,500, and now we're well over 2,000 followers. So, and it's not just about the following count that matters on Instagram as a like we're not a social media company, so that particular number doesn't matter, but it does represent how much better we are showing who we are as an organization of preschools and childcare centers across Long Island. She's really helping us to consistently demonstrate the quality of services and the experience that you'll have if you come to visit an Academic Explorers location, or if your child is enrolled, this is what you can expect. And I love that that is being represented so well across our TikTok and our Instagram. I know we tell you all the time to make sure you follow us at Magnify Childcare, but if you're interested in what Ashley is doing for our pages, our actual company page, you can follow us at Academic Explorers on Instagram and TikTok. So you can see those videos. We've had a few go viral, which is so funny. And not only just because of Ashley and how she does great editing, but our teachers, some of our teachers are having a lot of fun engaging with our accounts as well and helping Ashley bring our ideas to life. So that's been really fun and funny and such a joy to watch over the last couple of months. So because of all that, last week we celebrated with Miss Ashley that she helped us to cross that 2,000 follower milestone. And it was really nice to be able to surprise her with some flowers and say thank you. But speaking of celebrations, let's talk about some of the special events that we have had this past season or the last couple of months. Back in April, we celebrated Administrative Professionals Day, and 2 weeks later, we celebrated Teacher Appreciation Week. And for the first time ever in the 9 years that we've been open, I would say we kind of went all out for Teacher Appreciation Week. We really leaned into the theme that we set and were intentional about the outfits that we had, the experience we created in the center, the decor, the daily themes coming off of that overall weekly theme. We did Academic Explorers Airlines. And then we ended Teacher Appreciation Week with a celebration at a local restaurant owned by a friend of AE. It's a really beautiful restaurant. If you live locally, check it out. It's called The Edge, and it's in Freeport. We were able to host our annual award ceremony there, Teacher of the Year awards. We don't typically do awards during Teacher Appreciation Week. We usually wait until our staff conference or our professional development day that happens in August. But this year, it just felt right to incorporate the awards along with Teacher Appreciation Week. I think that just makes the most sense. So I think we're going to continue doing it that way every year in May. Of course, this season we also celebrated Mother's Day and Father's Day. We did a couple of networking events as our upper management. I happened to be asked to speak at a conference at SUNY Old Westbury for School of Education students, and that was fun. And most recently, we sponsored and partnered up with a local nonprofit organization called So Rich in Community to bring together a Juneteenth event. Last week, we celebrated Juneteenth at Joy Fest, which was put on by So Rich and Community. And we were there when someone from the governor's office, I think the word is proclaimed or officially recognized Juneteenth as a holiday. It was a really special moment, but also it was a fun time being able to gather with a good chunk of our teachers and administrators to celebrate such a joyous occasion, honestly, and have fun, dance, listen to music, spread more awareness about our programs to the guests that came to the event. We brought out the Move and Groove bus. It was a fun time. And now finally, for the end of this season, we're looking forward to graduation, which is only 3 days away. Our pre-K graduation is happening on June 25th, and we're excited to host that event for all 40 plus parents of our pre-K students who are ready to see their child move up and watch them perform the hard work that Miss Sabrina has done. Miss Sabrina has been working really hard the last few months with our pre-K graduates on a special performance that they're going to showcase at graduation. So maybe when we return for season 2, I'll share some clips of that. Or you can follow us on Instagram at Academic Explorers or TikTok at Academic Explorers, and you can see the performance for yourself. But that's a wrap for season 1 of Magnify Childcare. We're really looking forward to season 2. We have already started filming for season 2. We have a really special and exciting guest that is going to kick off season 2 that we've already filmed with. So I can't wait for that episode to come out. I'll touch base with you on Instagram or TikTok to confirm the launch of season 2. So follow us at Magnify Childcare, or you can visit us online at academicexplorersllc.com/Magnify Childcare. I think that's the URL. I'm going to leave it linked in the description or put it on the screen here so you can see. But find us over there, subscribe to our website. If you're interested in being the first to know when the new episode airs, you can also just turn on that notification bell and that will notify you literally on the YouTube app if you're interested in being the first to know when season 2 launches. Thank you so much for those of you that tune in every single week to each episode of this podcast. It means a lot to us, and we will see you next season. Bye.